Welcome back, everyone. It's here. And today I've got some r/BestOf for you all. As per usual, I'll be reading you the posts, giving you my opinions, and I hope you do the same down in the comments below. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. This post was collected by Direct Caterpillar 77, and their tagline is, "Saying is not a pogo stick." The original OP is only video 78, posted to r/Am I the Asshole, March 31st, 2024. Am I the asshole for sleeping with a guy after the man I thought was my boyfriend said we were not a couple? We've been seeing each other for a year, and everything looked and seemed like we're a couple. He said he loved me, and I him. He spends every weekend with me, and we have planned our first trip together, etc. Last weekend he was in bed, and I made him pancakes because his birthday was on Tuesday. He was very happy about it and joked that I was spoiling him. I said that I wanted to spoil my man. He said I'm not your man, with the same energy. He didn't seem awkward nor embarrassed, just as calm with a smile on his stupid face. I didn't take it seriously and said, "Yeah, I know you're not my man." He was more serious now and said, "No, really, I'm not your boyfriend." I felt literally sick, but I tried to be calm and I asked, "So, what are we?" He said, "I don't know." Really great friends with benefits? I didn't say anything after that, and he ate his pancakes in silence. Later, he asked if we would do anything. I said that I was planning on cleaning and doing some paperwork. He left after an hour. I ran to the bathroom to be sick, and I probably cried for a solid 2 hours. I couldn't keep anything in my stomach the rest of the day. He texted me that evening, thanking me for the breakfast in bed, and that he thought I was amazing. But I didn't answer, so he called a few times. I didn't answer. Around 10 p.m., he rang on my door. I just opened a jar and pretended I was sick with the flu and was going to bed. He offered to stay the night in case I needed help during the night, and I said no. I didn't answer him Sunday nor Monday, and I didn't wish him happy birthday on Tuesday either, and I've just been keeping it short texts feigning sickness. He never brought up what he said once. Then, yesterday, he wrote that he missed me, and that he hadn't gone this long without talking to me since we met, and that he was going mad. He asked if we could at least have dinner. I said that I was very busy. He said, "Don't you miss me?" I said that I was very tired because I was out all night with a guy last night, so I just wanted to relax by myself this evening. He stopped answering. He showed up 15 minutes later, asking me if I was lying. I wasn't. I told him that we weren't a couple, so I was free to do whatever. He said that I broke his heart and cheated on him, and that I'm an asshole. I waited for him to leave before I started crying. He's right. We have never had the talk, actually, and I never asked him what we were. I just assumed because I loved him, and I thought he did too. But now, I know we aren't together. Why was he upset that I slept with another man yesterday? Was I the asshole? Was it cheating? Relevant comments, deleted user. Not the asshole. He wants you to be tied to him, but he wants to be free to play the field. I would have told him the moment he said he didn't see himself as your boyfriend that I was not looking for a friends with benefits situation and the relationship is over. OP responds, "I felt sick and couldn't speak, but yeah, I get what you mean." Raymond Belmont comments, "Did he explain how you can cheat if you aren't in a relationship? Obviously not the asshole." OP responds, "He didn't explain. He never spoke about his chilling comment again. Sometimes I doubt myself that he actually said that or I had dreamt it because he never mentioned what he told me again. This whole week has been a haze because of how devastated I was by his words." User Canyon Moon comments, "Obviously not the asshole. He didn't just stop at saying you weren't together, that he wasn't your boyfriend. He even said you were a great friends with benefits. That is so extremely insulting if he's gonna act like you're exclusive. Bet he only expected you to be loyal and not him. He wants a girlfriend in a relationship without committing. What an asshole." Hope he responds, "Thank you. I will not be his friends with benefits. I can be that with other people that I don't love." Update. He met a girl 2 weeks ago. Now they're official. April 25th, 2024, nearly a month later. So yeah, my really great friends with benefits has made it official with a girl he met 2 weeks ago at his sister's wedding. His sister called me crying and apologizing from her honeymoon. I was confused. She said, "Oh, I thought you saw it." So he's been sharing on Instagram and Instagram stories with this new girl calling her his girlfriend. I've muted him on my Instagram, so I've not been seeing his feed or stories. Sure enough, I went to his account and he's been sharing daily pictures with his new girlfriend. Anyway, his sister wanted me to know that she had no hand in this because she loved me and was sad things ended between her brother and me. I thanked her and told her that she should enjoy her honeymoon and not to bother with adults making dumb decisions. I thought I might share this with you guys as an update, especially for those who called me an asshole on my original post. Told me that I should have communicated better and had the talk, and felt sorry for my really great friends with benefits. Now I can tell you that I don't need to be sorry for him. He is communicating just fine with his girlfriend. Final comments. Turtle Struggle Bus. So you thought you had a boyfriend for over a year. Did he say I love you ever? So a couple days after your post, he found a new girl? Have you talked with him since your first post? I guess he's not even a friends with benefits. Now he's just somebody you used to know. Glad the trash took itself out. Opie responds. Basically 2 weeks after we broke up, yeah. I was supposed to be his +1 to the wedding, but I declined. No, I have not talked to him in person. He has texted me a couple of times. User Bubbly Panda 1327 comments. What a childish thing to do. Wow. Poor girl, the new girlfriend. Sounds like she's being love-bombed, official after 2 weeks, pictures together constantly, out of spite for some other girl she doesn't even know. You dodged a bullet there. OP responds, I hope someone tells her so she makes an informed decision. So these two had been extremely close for over a year, said I love you. He said they were just friends with benefits. She says okay, ends up sleeping with another guy. He says that was cheating. And then 2 weeks later, he gets a new girlfriend and begins spite posting on Instagram to make her feel jealous and takes her to the wedding when OP had no idea that was even happening. Also, you don't take your friends with benefits to the wedding as a +1. My personal pet theory is OP's ex-boyfriend or ex-friends with benefits, whatever the fuck he was, got into the manosphere and thought that if he pulled this card, she would become desperate for his affection and approval and begin bending over backwards, because that's what they tell you to do, and it backfired very quickly, so now he just wants to, get back at her by making it official with a new girl after 2 weeks when they had been previously extremely close for over a year. The guy is gross, and a prime example of why you don't listen to Red Pill Manosphere guys, because they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Assuming, of course, he was actually consuming that kind of media, which, to me, it definitely feels like it, because this just feels right out of the playbook of negging. Like, he called you his friends with benefits. You can't cheat on your friends with benefits. Dude shot himself in the foot and asked why you did that. Buddy, I don't know what to tell you. I do fully believe that he was posting daily girlfriend updates to try to make OP jealous as, see, look, I committed to someone in 2 weeks. Not realizing that he was just making himself look like an ass, and OP literally had no idea what was going on until his sister called her crying and apologizing. Dude, you have dug yourself a hole straight to hell. Good luck getting out of that one. This post was collected by Direct Caterpillar 77, and their tagline is Satan is not a pogo stick. The original OP is Stupid Fence Throwaway, posted r/legal advice, January 10th, 2020. My neighbors are vandalizing their side of my fence because it's facing them, and therefore it's theirs. This is really stupid, I swear, but I'm not sure what to do or if they're correct or what. I live in Minnesota. I own our house. In May, I had a fence put up, a 6-foot cedar privacy fence. It encloses my backyard and runs up my side yard as well. We had our property professionally assessed and marked where the property line is. And we put the fence on the property line. My neighbor has just recently moved in. Their backyard is fenced on 3 sides because all of his surrounding neighbors have fences. So the side we share is my fence. The neighbor behind him has a chain-link fence, and the neighbor on the opposite side has a slightly taller chain-link fence. The side of the yard facing the road is open. Driving home from work the other day, I noticed they had painted all over the side of my fence that faces their yard. Not like all one color, but just painting random crap. The kids, 2 younger kids and 1 possibly 13-ish, were let loose, and it's a mishmash of colors and pictures and whatever. I'm pretty upset by this, as this fence was not cheap. I got home and asked the significant other what we should do, and then I went over to talk to the neighbor. The neighbors, as it turns out, are entirely psychotic. The husband answered the door in his boxers, and right off the bat was defensive. He stood there, chest puffed out like he was going to fight me over it. I explained that I didn't appreciate him painting on my fence. I didn't actually get much further than that because he blew up at me, ranting about how since it's on the property line, the half of the fence that's facing them is their fence and they can do what they want with it. The wife showed up at some point, absolutely hammered, and added to the chaos. I eventually bowed out and went home, and told significant other that we should just let it go. It's just paint, and I know that if we have any extended negative interaction with the neighbors, it's probably going to be a never-ending headache. But now they're vandalizing it. It's being used as a backstop for what I think is a set of throwing knives by the younger teenage boy, as well as airsoft target practice. They're hanging screws and nails into it to hang targets and stuff. Paint is one thing, but the physical damage will shorten the life of the fence. I guess I'm just wondering if what they said is true. I'm finding minimal info about it. It is on the property line, but the idea of the side facing them being their side seems really ludicrous. But I can also see that being a thing since it borders their yard. Can I file a police report for damage to property? Also, what legality do I have for cameras? A friend suggested putting up cameras, but since it's in their yard and they have a reasonable expectation of privacy, I don't think I would be allowed to do that. Relevant comments. Der Spinny comments. Congratulations, you're in a fence line dispute. Unfortunately, that means you're well outside of the competence of internet advice. The police are unlikely to get involved, as fence disputes are generally civil, but you can try. If that fails, then speak to a real estate attorney about your options. You may be able to compel your neighbor to pay for half of the maintenance of the portion of the fence separating their land from yours, and you may, depending on the timing, even be able to recover half of the installation cost for that length of fence. However, litigating against a neighbor is a good way to end up having to continue litigating against a neighbor, as it tends to mark the breakdown of polite negotiation. User Loopyface responds, even better, Minnesota has comprehensive and fascinating fence law, providing a link to a Minnesota government site. There's a position called Fence Viewer who settles fence disputes. OP, you're in for a treat. OP responds, somehow I don't think it's gonna be the kind of treat that I enjoy. SB Redneck responds, I don't know. Citation, looks like you very well may be entitled to your neighbor paying you back for what he believes is their half. User DH42com comments, the important question that no one has asked is, where is the fence situated in terms of the property line? Did you get a survey when you did the fence? Is the totality of the fence on your side of the property? If so, it would be no different than them coming and painting the front of your house and using that for a backstop. If it's on the line, then it is a bit more nuanced. OP responds, on the line, the surveyors mark the property line in paint and we put the posts up on our side. So they're digging into our side of the line. But the actual fence is attached to the 4x4s such that it runs along the property line. User Analogama comments, you didn't place it slightly yet clearly on your side of the property line? OP responds, no, which I'm starting to see was a real dumb decision on my part. My uncle said I shouldn't give them any of my yard by shifting the fence because of some law that says after a certain amount of time of that being their yard, it legally becomes their yard, or something along those lines. Update, April 16th, 2020, 3 months later. Updating this post. So, I got a lot of good advice. I was pretty not happy to realize that I'd probably be in for a long haul of bullshit, but ultimately decided to see just how much of a headache it would be to have dealt with. I did find a lawyer who I was prepared to contact. The first thing I did was contact the fence company, since that seemed nice and easy to start with. In my original post, it was suggested that because the fence posts are on my side, that makes it on my property. So I called and asked them, you guys, that fence company saved my ass. I told them what was happening, and they had me come in to talk to the guy who owns the company. It's a small family-owned business. He told me that the fence is entirely on my side. I said no. I asked for them to put it on the property line. He said he knows what I had asked, but their company policy is to not put fences exactly on residential property lines and instead to shift the fence 5 inches in off the property line. This isn't anything in their contracts, on their website, or anything. He said that they should have mentioned it to me when they did the install, but they don't like to because people get mad about it. Apparently, they had a situation almost just like this. that they got tangled up in and just ended up starting to refuse to touch residential property lines because of the potential headache down the road. So, while I think I may have some opinions of just installing fences a few inches away from where the owners want it without telling them, I can't complain because clearly it worked in my favor. The property assessment people had put flags down on the property line and marked the corners with stakes, and while the flags were pulled, when I went out to where the stakes were, the one at the back of the property, the one in the back corner, was still there. It's real weedy and untamed. And he was right. It's a few inches away from the fence. So I ended up filing a police report for damage to my property. I told the neighbors I would be taking them to small claims court. They did not like that at all. I told them they can either pay for me to replace the panels that were vandalized as well as installation cost, or I'd go to court and make them do it that way. In the end, they paid. Of note, the wife was there the last time I went over. It's only the second time I've talked with her. She was sober this time and seemed pretty apologetic, even if her husband was not. Also, of note, the son actually came over while I was in the front raking up the winter lawn litter in the yard and apologized as well. He said his dad told him I said it was okay to use the fence and offered me money as compensation because his dad told him he would have to be the one to pay for some of it because he ruined it with his targets. I have no idea why because the new fence panels, 6 of them in all, were already paid for and installed. I can only imagine his dad wanted his kids to be punished because he was angry. I'm not sure what was going on in his head. I was so mad. He had almost $250, which is a lot for someone his age, and offered it all to me. I ended up telling him to keep it. Tell his dad he gave it to me, and if he came asking, I would tell him I took it, and told him that I didn't blame him for the damage or expect him to pay for it. He was surprised and ecstatic and said he was hoping to have enough for a PS5 when it comes out. I told him when the spring fully rolls around, if he's interested, I have plenty of yard work he can come do to earn the rest by the time holiday season rolls around. So, to bring us to present day, I have had no other interaction with the neighbors. It's been surprisingly peaceful. The neighbor kid came and did a bit of yard work before COVID rolled around and earned an extra $50. I told him lawn mowing doesn't violate social distancing rules, so if he'd like to do my yard when he does his own, he would be paid for it, once it's nice enough out for the grass to grow. All in all, it was pretty successful. So, thanks everyone for the advice. You're all great. Quick edit to add, because I'm getting a lot of PMs about it, adverse possession wouldn't apply. In my first post, it was gone over that the neighbors would have to be able to prove that they have both had the property for 15 consecutive years, as well as been paying taxes on it for 5. And be able to prove it. Good kid. It's really shameful that the most mature person in the neighbor's family is the child. It sounds like the mom is a mess because of her husband, and the husband is just downright a piece of shit. Also, by the sounds of it, fence law is just increasingly complicated from state to state, and every state has their own variations and laws attached to it. I don't know how I feel about the fencing company just giving up 5 inches of land because all it takes, as OP stated, is having a neighbor for 15 years for them to lose 5 inches of land on all sides of their property. That's a major oversight. But I guess also at the same time, that oversight, or more of calculated oversight, allowed this dispute to be quickly settled in OP's favor. I guess technically all OP needs to do is to find a way to manage those 5 inches of land on each side so that way he doesn't give that up. But that might be difficult considering that neighbor's yard is fenced in on all sides by the other neighbors. Either way, in the end, it does seem to be de-escalated pretty nicely, and all in all, this went in OP's favor about as much as you could hope in a situation like this. Especially with a neighbor who answered the door in the boxers. That's a nightmare. This post was collected by Direct Caterpillar 77, and their tagline is, "Satan is not a pogo stick." The original OP is Claren Viola, posted May 28th, 2015 to r/relationships. My 24 female, boyfriend 26 male, is a regular poster at a bullying subreddit. After finding out, I've lost all respect for him. What do I do? I'm making this simple. I found out my boyfriend is a regular poster on a subreddit dedicated to bullying overweight people. After reading his comments on calling them names, making fun of them, etc., I can't look at him the same anymore. I used to see him as this handsome, wonderful man. I look at him now and all I see is an ugly, hateful man-child. For the record, and not that it would matter, I'm not overweight. I look at him bullying these people and cannot believe he could be so cruel to people who haven't done anything to him. To post pictures and laugh at them and call them names. I know some people might say, what does it matter if it doesn't apply to you? But a truly good person doesn't treat others in such a manner. What if we were to have a child who became overweight? What if I was to become overweight? Does he look down at my mother, a mere 10 pounds overweight? How do I know he's not harboring hatred for other groups of people? I love him, or at least I did, until I saw this side of him, but I don't know what to do. Leave him? Talk to him? Let him know what I found? Too long didn't read, caught boyfriend posting on a bullying subreddit and cannot see him the same anymore. Relevant comments deleted. You're right, good people don't insult strangers as a hobby. You get to decide what you want to do. Do you want to continue your relationship? Do you think that talking to him about your concerns will change his behavior or how you feel about him? Opie responds, I don't know if talking about my concerns will change anything. I'll be honest, I really wish that wasn't the case, but I look at him now the way I saw the bullies and mean girls back in grade school. Just awful people, inside and out. I'm shocked to see this from him, quite honestly. Shocked. When a downvoted commenter said maybe the boyfriend is just venting, I don't honestly believe that there would be any excuse or reason to justify bullying people. I don't think it's ever okay to make fun of people, pick on them, post pictures of them to mock them. I don't care what the reason is. Honestly, it's extremely childish. Maybe the boyfriend was bullied as a child. I don't believe he was bullied, but after this, I don't think it would surprise me to find out that he would have been a childhood bully, honestly. Update, June 1st, 2015, 4 days later. The original post is here, but for some reason it says it was removed. I don't think I broke any rules. I took the advice to talk to him, even though I had a hard time working up the nerve to do so. He told me initially that he felt concerned, and that he'd never meant for me to find out about it. He asked me what, specifically, I had a problem with. And I explained to him that bullying people online is not a respectable activity for someone to partake in. I let him know that it wasn't the kind of thing I would accept in our relationship, and that if he wanted to keep me, he would have to stop. He tried to say, oh, everyone does it, and anonymity means you can do anything. And these people don't even know what's happening, and a bunch of other sorry excuses. I left for the night and let him know that I would be waiting for his response, but I knew based on his reaction and his justifications that our relationship was over. I went back in the morning and sat down with him and explained to him exactly why I was leaving. He tried to stop me and told me that he would stop doing it. But when I said, how can I trust you when I know you can just hide the behavior from incognito mode and do it where I won't see? And he started to blush. I knew this meant he was never intending on stopping. So, as of Sunday morning, I'm officially single. I'm moving out of the place we share and into my own place today. There were surprisingly a lot of places open. We have agreed to cut off contact and move on with our lives. But before I removed him from Facebook, I saw this Facebook status. You never know when someone in your life will have expectations too high for you to meet. I guess I wasted 2 years of my life on a girl who couldn't deal with me being a normal guy and only wanted a Prince Charming. I think I made the right choice. Too long didn't read, boyfriend was unapologetic about what he was doing and had no true intention to stop. So, I stopped our relationship. Honestly, if I saw him post a status like that, I would have responded without hesitation. Nah, dude, didn't need a Prince Charming, just wanted someone who didn't bully people on Reddit and assumed it was something normal to do. Final comments. User Shadowban Hands comments. He picked trolling over you. Good riddance. User Sleepy House comments. May he and his fedora live happily ever after. I mentioned it in yesterday's video, but people like this just need to be shamed. The veil of anonymity can bring out the worst in people, or at least show you their true colors. Because if someone is given the opportunity to do something without consequences, and their first response is to be a bastard, that's who they are as a person. That is fundamentally who they are in their core of a human being, is that kind of person. It's also crazy that in his Facebook post, he pretty much puts the entire onus on her for not accepting him bullying people on Reddit. OP went against her gut and actually sat down and tried to have a conversation with him. And when he found out that not even incognito mode could save his ass, well, it's your fault for not accepting what normal guys do. Yeah, you just want a Prince Charming, someone who's perfect. Ugh, women, am I right? Dude, just don't be an asshole. She left you because you literally chose body-shaming strangers over your relationship. How is that difficult for you to comprehend? Fucking loser. This post was collected by Gardengio. Gardengio. The original OP is Frosty Nectarine 2635, posted to r/am_I_the_asshole, November 24th, 2022. Am I the asshole for snapping at my in-laws for saying my husband ruined his life? Context. My 36 female husband, 36 male, comes from a family of athletes. They put him in boxing as a kid. He was talented, and he suffered a lot of pressure from his family. They wanted him to become professional, but my husband never wanted that. In high school, things got worse for him as the school's coaches were brutal, and the attention he received from promoters and outside coaches led his family to put more pressure on him. The relationship with his family went south when he informed them he was going to university and giving up boxing for good. Not true on the boxing part. I met him a month before we started high school, and we've been together ever since. When he was 30, his family contacted him to try to fix their relationship. Their relationship is decent. The same with me. Now, we took our children on Sunday to visit them. Sister-in-law and her husband were talking about one of my nephews learning to play the piano and that he's good for his age. Then mother-in-law said, and quote, "Be careful, you don't want to encourage him only for him to quit and ruin his life as my husband's name." It seemed like mother-in-law forgot I was there, and they went silent. My husband was out buying some things with his father and his other two brother-in-laws. I was calm and asked her how he ruined his life. His sisters got involved and said, "That's not what mother-in-law meant, and I wouldn't understand." I replied, "No, I don't understand. I don't understand why you wanted to live through him, why you never listened to him, why you never accepted what he wanted, why you didn't let him be, why you think he ruined his life. I don't get it. If you think it's because I don't know how talented he was, you're wrong because I was there. Even when you abandoned him, it was for nothing that he got 2 scholarships and people were after him. I'd understand if he didn't do anything with his life, but that's not the case. He has a degree, an amazing career, built 2 different businesses, is a great father and husband. He's more successful than all of you combined. Please, tell me how he ruined his life or what part I don't understand." I got silence. I took our children and left. I texted my husband that I was going home. He arrived shortly after and told him what happened, and he's not mad. To be honest, this is the first time I heard these types of comments, and I pretty much blew the relationship he has with his family, and apparently also caused issues with his sister's husbands because they had a different version of why my husband was estranged. Comments. Comment 1. Not the asshole. Mother-in-law was patronizing your husband's life choices, and you stomp on her with the truth. Info. So, the sisters were lying to their spouses about your husband? OP responds, yeah, pretty much. My husband talked to them yesterday, and apparently his sisters told their husbands that my husband just quit his sport and left the family. The family that supposedly supported and encouraged him to succeed. But the reality is different. Comment 2. I love how your typo for succeed is close to secede, which is more or less what he did. Opie responds, pardon my English, it's not my native language. My husband pointed out the same thing when he read the post, lol. Good thing it's still understandable. Oh my god, it's so fucking hot in here. God damn. Oh fuck, I'm still recording. Comment 3. Not the asshole. Good on you. I played volleyball competitively through high school and was offered several scholarships to play at great schools. I was burnt out and I wanted to focus on my degree. My parents were not okay with me turning down the volleyball scholarships, and then my mom told me I would not get my college fund, which I know is a privilege on its own, unless I attend state school near her. Guess who dropped out of that school to move away from her parents after a year? Guess who went no contact with them for a year? And guess who is proudly finishing up her biology degree at 34? You did a wonderful job of advocating for and defending your husband. Kudos to you. Opie responds, the worst part is that my husband's parents didn't want him to go to university. They wanted him to go pro right after high school. In fact, he was able to go to a pretty nice high school and get good education because his then coach and him tricked his parents. Edit, good job on getting your degree. Big smiley face emoji. Comment 4. Just to be clear, she thinks he ruined his life because he's a dad, husband, and founder of 2 businesses instead of a pro boxer. I mean, boxer or business owner, a job is a job. Not the asshole. I'm glad you have his back. Hope he responds, not really. They think he ruined his life because he threw away the thing they couldn't achieve, which was to be recognized for their talent and being famous for it. They didn't even care about the money because they live quite comfortably. They were athletes, but none of them excelled or had that kind of talent, except for my husband. So, they put all their dreams on hoping they could live experience through him. Update point 5. Edit and small update. I never expected this much attention and sorry for not answering every comment. I'll clear some points and give you a small update. First of all, thank you for the kind words and awards. I reacted on instinct and kind of regretted, but my husband reassured me that it was fine. He would have done the same thing for me, which I know. He's all smiles every time I see him. I'm sorry for those who went through the same thing. I'm glad you left that horrible situation and that you're doing what you want. Good job. I should have been clearer. Mother-in-law says he ruined his life because he wasted the chance to be recognized and famous, something they always longed for but couldn't achieve on their own. My husband stopped competing once he finished university, and not after high school. He had to do it so he could maintain his scholarship. The children weren't present when I exploded. They were playing outside. His sisters lied to their husbands about the reason why my husband was estranged. They put the blame entirely on him and downplayed what they did. Someone linked a story about a couple who's dealing with the after trauma, and it's heartbreaking. Injuries and trauma are 2 of the many reasons my husband never wanted to make boxing his career. Fortunately, he received minimal damage and sees a specialist once a year to make sure everything is fine. My husband says that over the years he felt something was off, so he's not surprised they haven't changed their opinion of him and that they were just faking it to gain access to our kids. Now to the small update. Early today when we dropped the kids off at school, his sister's husbands were there and wanted to hear my husband's version. We went to have breakfast and he told them everything. From their reaction, it was clear that their wives were still downplaying the whole thing. According to one of them, his wife is starting to display the same traits as mother-in-law. So, yeah. We agreed to talk on Saturday to plan how we're going to move forward with our children. They go to the same school and are very close, and we don't want to disrupt their relationship. As for his parents, we're going to talk to them on Saturday to let them know how their relationship with our children and us is going to be from now on. Thanks to all of you again. Update, a week later. Some asked for an update, so here it is. During the week, we talked to our kids and asked them, without being obvious, how they've been treated by their grandparents. We got positive responses. They've been treated well, to be clear. When we talked to everyone on Sunday, without the kids, and my husband was the one who did the talking. First, it was his parents. They tried to apologize, but my husband cut them short. He said that we weren't there for apologies or explanations, but to talk about their new relationship with us. He told them that we are no longer going to take the kids to their house anymore. They will have 2 visits per month and will be supervised by us. They will be the ones who plan the activities and they have to inform us with enough time so we can approve them. The only time they will see the kids besides their 2 times is for birthdays and holidays, to keep their opinions of him or me to themselves, as the moment they run their mouths with our kids present, it will be the last time they will see them. And for us, we'll be civil. But that's it. They agreed, and before we left, they told us they are separating, to which my husband replied that he doesn't care. The visits and rules are the same, regardless of their marital situation. We could split the visits to 1 each, or they could have 2 together, but that's up to them. The visitations will begin after their situation is resolved. Later that day, we visited his sisters and their husbands, all gathered in one house. Pretty much the same drill, but he listened to his sister. His sisters apologized and told us that they're going to therapy again. They asked my husband if he was willing to go with them at some point, but he refused. He told them that their relationship is way too broken to mend, that he harbors no ill feelings towards them, and the only thing he will give them is common decency. That it is good they are going to therapy again and hopes they take it seriously now because their kids and husbands deserve better. With that being said, he proposed that things continue more or less the same. We take our kids to their house or they bring theirs to ours. But, with the exceptions of visits from his parents, we explain them the deal with my in-laws, and that my sisters and parents are still willing to maintain the same relationship with the kids, but not so much with them. Any comment from them, like the one his mother did, and everything will stop. If they have another plan, we could work it out. They all agreed with our plan. For now, everyone is looking to keep things civil for the kids, which I think is a good ending. Anyway, my husband and I drew the lines, and we will make sure they don't cross them. Comments. Comment 1. I absolutely love this. Good job doing it for the kids. As the non-asshole daughter of an asshole, it makes me sad thinking of all the years I missed out on with my cousins. We're connecting now as adults, though. Just got a wedding invite. Lofi responds, we didn't want that to happen. They don't have to carry our burden, and it's not their fault. I'm sorry you went through that, and I'm glad you're connecting with them now. Comment 2. It sounds like you also may end up with a decent relationship with the sisters' husbands, too. They seemed open to hearing your husband's side and will be great allies for having your kids all maintain a good relationship. I hope it all works out well in the long run for all of you. Lofi responds, I should have clarified. We have no problems with them. We like them. Thankfully, I have a decent relationship with them. My husband's relationship with them is better because they hang out from time to time. That's why they heard his side. We know we can trust them when it comes to keeping the kids together while also accepting our boundaries. Comment 3. I didn't read your original post, but good for you and your husband standing together as a team. I had an ex-boyfriend whose son was an amateur boxer in his teens. He was very talented and qualified for the Olympics. He decided to give it up and went to university. He's 27 now, and he left the world of boxing 10 years ago. To this day, his dad brings up the fact that he gave it all up and that he could have made it as a pro boxer. His son, however, was never passionate about it. He did it because that's what he was told to do in his teens, and that's what was expected of him. He had no life outside of boxing. He woke up early to train, went to school, trained some more, did homework, kept to a very strict diet, rinse and repeat. He admits that he didn't have much of a normal childhood because so many years of it was spent keeping to a rigorous routine. My ex-boyfriend loves to live in the past, and it sounds like your husband's parents are exactly those kinds of people. That type of mentality is so toxic. It's great to hear that you're both enforcing boundaries to maintain sanity. Nobody needs to be held to dead expectations of the past. OP responds, what you describe is basically almost my husband's childhood, and his parents are like your ex-boyfriend. The difference is that my husband never made it to the Olympics, but not because he couldn't. He was contacted by the Olympic team after he won his first nationals at 15 because it got him a spot on their team. His parents tried almost everything in their power to convince him to go, but thanks to our high school's ironclad contract, he couldn't be a part of any team but theirs, and one of the reasons why he chose that school, and it would have cost them a lot of money to get out of that contract, so they had to suck a lemon. The Olympic team contacted him 2 more times when he was in university, but he turned them down. He wasn't interested in pursuing a medal or a professional career either. His parents and sisters never bothered to listen to him, so he had no other option but to use his talent to get what he wanted. Good education. Commenter 4. Damn, your husband is awesome, and you're not too shabby yourself. OP, good luck. PS, do you think his parents are separating due to a disagreement on treatment of your husband? OP responds, from the info my husband gathered from his sister's husbands, that seems to be the case. Apparently, his father accepted that he was wrong in the way he treated my husband and tried to improve during the time they were estranged. He thought his wife and daughters did the same. He apologized to my husband when they reconnected, but his mother and sister did the same. And look where they are. So right now, my husband, also me, can't help but be a bit cynical with him. Comment 5. The mom was wrong to say and to think boxing was the son's life purpose. I think she's learning that is wrong, but it also sounds like she loves her son and is making efforts and cares very much to see him and her grandkids. Your boundaries are important, especially where the kids are concerned, but I also think you need to give them room to change and learn, as well as the sisters. Sounds like they want to do better. I hope time brings more trust and repair amongst all. You and your husband sound like a sweet and strong couple. OP responds, he thought they had learned and improved after 12 years of no contact because that was what they claimed. He gave them a chance, and unfortunately, they were just pretending. Probably the only one who actually improved is his father, but right now, he can't help but be a little cynical with him. Comment 6. So, at the end of the day, the only person who threw their life away was the mother. Talk about poetic justice. OP responds, that's right, my husband's sisters almost suffered the same fate, but they're lucky to have decent husbands. OP responds further, I don't know the details, but there is more going on. The situation was just what made them take preventative measures in their relationships. Comment 7. How much did your husband have to go through to have to become this direct, to have to put up boundaries with his family? Anyways, I just hope they really learn from this and don't fuck up again. Best of luck to your family. Opie responds, I only saw 3 years of how they treated him, and I think it is more than enough to fill a few books. He gave them a new chance with him, and they blew it. Now they have an opportunity with our children, and it's up to them to not ruin it. So this post orbits the concept of parents wanting to live their dreams, their children's lives, and forcing them to live a life they never wanted to live. Whether it's boxing, football, chess, sports in general, or God knows what. Either that or they have a fantasy of having a child who's extremely popular or famous or good at football so they can cheer them on and have the pride of saying, that's my son. When the kid would rather be an electrical engineer or be really good at tabletop games or would rather spend his time learning chess or God knows what instead. Or hell, maybe he really wants to pick up rock climbing instead of football. But instead, they're pigeonholed to the dreams of their parents. This was actually something that my father and we dealt with. He really wanted me to go into football and to be a football player. Now, I'm me, alright? For those of you who have seen what I look like through my streams, do you guys see me as being the football type? No. I have the general build and strength of a celery stick that's malnourished. But he did realize that this wasn't what I wanted, that I had no interest, and he allowed me to stop playing. His one requirement, though, was that I do pick something up to keep me active. Which that became track and field, and I ended up doing the 100-meter hurdles and 100-meter dash because they were first during track meets and I had to do 2, so I could do those and go right home. Which my dad was a-okay with because I was still going through the general training and practice period of track and field, so that way I was actually active. Which, to be honest though, because of my spindly frame, hurdles was actually something I was pretty good at. But my high school didn't have a track team. We had a chess team and a weightlifting team, but that was it. But it always makes me wonder how many kids never got to explore their full potential because they were good at one thing but they had no interest in it. And they were never able to find or fully envelop themselves into something they were not only talented in, but also had aspirations for, had an interest in. I feel like there's a line between pushing your kids so they apply themselves and so they're driven and so they actually succeed in where they want to go, and having such a regimented routine and governance over their lives to the point where the moment they have even an ounce of ability to escape, they choose it in a heartbeat because that was never what they wanted. I also don't blame OP and her husband in the slightest for drawing the lines they have in the sand because they had 12 years of no contact to get their shit together, and obviously, they didn't learn their fucking lesson. They still hold the same kind of resentment and have even misrepresented and victimized themselves as we're the ones who were hurt by his actions, not him, and the fact that we forced him to do this when he clearly had no interest in it. We just didn't want him to throw his life away. Did he though? Did he throw his life away, or did he throw the life away that you wanted to live vicariously through him? I think though if the father has genuinely changed and is willing to try and be better about it and doesn't have the same feelings as he did at this point 2 decades ago, then maybe he should be given more wiggle room than the mother who actively repeated the same kind of talking points. That's just my thought though. It really just comes down to them, the vibes, and what they feel is necessary for both their children and their own health. Top 10 fun facts about the outro. Fact number 1, it's the outro. Fact number 2, it's the outro. Fact number 3, it's the outro. What the fuck is this list I'm reading? Oh, wait, okay, my bad. This is my list for Watch Mojo video ideas. That's on me. I opened up the wrong folder. Anyways, outro. Don't forget, gamer subs, use code OZ at checkout. Every purchase made supports the channel directly and allows me to actually make further investments in improving the channel, like a new microphone or new audio equipment or a replacement for my slowly decaying Mac. You've served honorably, sweet child. As well as helping me, pay for renovating my old office so that way I can, upgrade the channel content further. On a side note, something that I realized for why the main channel, for those of you who care deeply about that one, as well as me, well, the reason why it's been so difficult to make content for that channel is because I kind of shot myself in the foot with how I arranged everything. See, my vocal booth is in one area of the house, a closet that makes the most sense. It's a 7x4 closet, so, tore out the shelves in it and turned it into, well, what I could. And yeah, why wouldn't I have this be the vocal booth? But see, the problem became that in order for me to make content for the main channel, I have to record something, then leave the vocal booth, go across the house to my desk, sit down, edit the audio, and then if I make a mistake, I have to go all the way back to the vocal booth, re-record that segment, and then walk all the way back. Now, I know that doesn't sound like it's a huge deal, but the problem is that with my brain being what it is, it means I have to switch gears, then switch back, then switch gears again, and it kind of just ends up giving me decision paralysis, and I end up just delaying working on the channel indefinitely. Indefinitely? Indefinitely. Ugh. So my hope is that by spending the time to actually upgrade, the new studio, not only will I have an actual area that'll look great on stream, but the hope would be is that I can just raw dog, that's not the right word for that, but I'm going for it anyways, that I can just raw dog the audio at my desk once more for the main channel. And then because I'm no longer relying on the main channel for my main source of revenue, there's no longer the anxiety of this has to perform or I can't pay my bills. The Vault channel instead has filled that role, and it's far easier to work on than the main channel. So the main channel will become fun again. And I'm actually really excited for that. So for those of you who have been waiting for the main channel to have frequent uploads again, I may have accidentally stumbled upon that by trying to upgrade this channel. So yeah, that's actually a really cool oopsie whoopsie there. But hopefully it actually works out. Anyways, I'll catch y'all tomorrow on next episode of Is This Vault? Woo!